good evening, and welcome to episode 63 or 64. One or the other. I don't know. 63. We'll bake with that. It's late. I worked a long day. Today was better than yesterday. And I did play music for a little while, which was awesome. That's my cat meowing in the background. And now I'm going to read a letter from Elizabeth Barrett Browning to her husband, though at the time they might not have been married, Robert Browning, from the book The World's Greatest Love Letters, which I love. So, without further ado, from 1846. I was thinking the other day that certainly, and after all, or rather before all, I had loved you all my life, unawares. That is the idea of you. Women begin, for the most part, if ever so very little given to reverie, by meaning in and aside to themselves, to love such and such an ideal, seen sometimes in a dream and sometimes in a book, and forswearing their ancient faith as the years creep on. I say a book because I remember a friend of mine who looked everywhere for the original of Mr. Ward's Tremaine, because nothing would do for her, she insisted, except just that excess of so-called refinement. With the book knowledge and the conventional manners, qui peut Tremaine, and ended by marrying a lieutenant in the Navy who could not spell. Such things happen every day, and cannot be otherwise, say the wise. Such things happen every day, and cannot be, repeating this, and cannot be otherwise, say the wise. And this being otherwise with me is miraculous compensation for the trials of many years, though such abundant, overabundant compensation, that I cannot help fearing it is too much, as I know that you are too good and too high for me, and that by the degree in which I am raised up, you are let down, for us two to find a level to meet on. One's ideal must be above one, as a matter of course, you know. It is as far as one can reach with one's eyes, soul eyes, not reach to touch. And here is mine, shall I tell you? Even to the visible outward sign of the black hair and the complexion. Why, you might ask my sisters, yet I would not tell you. If I could not tell you afterwards that, if it had been red hair quite, it had been the same thing, only I prove the coincidence out fully and make you smile half. Yet, indeed, I did not fancy that I was to love you when you came to me. No, indeed, any more than I did your carrying on your side. My ambition when we began our correspondence was simply that you should forget I was a woman. Being weary and blasé of the empty written gallantries of which I have had my share, and all the more perhaps from my peculiar position which made them so without consequence, that you should forget that and let us be friends, and consent to teach me what you knew better than I in art and human nature, and give me your sympathy in the meanwhile. I'm a great hero worshipper and had admired your poetry for years. Oh, wow. Oh. Mosquito. Okay, let's see. Poetry. I am a great hero worshipper and had admired your poetry for years. And to feel that you liked to write to me and be written to was a pleasure and a pride, as I used to tell you, I am sure. And then your letters were not like other letters, as I must not tell you again. Also, you influenced me in a way in which no one else did. For instance, by 2 or 3 half words you made me see you, and other people had delivered orations on the same subject quite without effect. I surprised everybody in this house by consenting to see you. Then, when you came, you never went away. I mean, I had a sense of your presence constantly. Yes. And to prove how free that feeling was from the remotest presentiment of what has occurred, I said to my papa in my unconsciousness the next morning, "It is most extraordinary how the idea of Mr. Browning does beset me. I suppose it is not being used to see strangers in some degree, but it haunts me. It is a persecution." On which he smiled and said that it was not grateful to my friend to use such a word. When the letter came. Do you know that all that time I was frightened of you? Frightened in this way. I felt as if you had a power over me and meant to use it, and that I could not breathe or speak very differently from what you chose to make me. As to my thoughts, I had it in my head somehow that you read them as you read the newspaper, examined them, and fastened them down, writhing under your long entomological pins. Ah, do you remember the entomology of it all? But the power was used upon me, and I never doubted that you had mistaken your own mind, the strongest of us having some exceptional weakness, turning the wonder round in all lights. I came to what you admitted yesterday. Yes, I saw that very early. That you had come here with the intention of trying to love whomever you should find. And also that what I had said about exaggerating the amount of what I could be to you had just operated in making you more determined to justify your own presentiment in the face of mine. Well, and if that last clause was true a little, too, why should I be sorry now? And why should you have fancy for a moment that the first could make me sorry? At first, and when I did not believe that you really loved me, when I thought you deceived yourself, then it was different. But now, when I see and I believe your attachment for me, do you think that any cause in the world except what diminished it could render it less a source of joy to me? I mean, as far as I myself am considered. Now, if you ever okay. I think that's it. Just a little bit more to read. Well, now, if you ever fancy that I was hoping I didn't have to blow my nose, but I do. Pardon me. Sometimes having two cats, man. Whew. Okay. I'm going to finish this and then sneeze some more. Okay. Now. Okay. And it's funny, the last several lines have become so dramatic now. All right. Now, if you ever fancy that I am vain of your love for me, you will be unjust. Remember, if it were less dear and less above me, I might be vain, perhaps, but I may say before God and you that all of the events of my life, inclusive of its inflictions, nothing has humbled me so much as your love. Right or wrong it may be, but true it is. And I tell you, your love has been to me like God's own love, which makes the receivers of it kneelers. Oh my gosh, it's almost 15 minutes. Wow, I can't believe it took that long for me to read it. Whew, more than enough time. Elizabeth Barrett Browning to her husband, or soon-to-be husband, Robert Browning, from the book, The World's Greatest Love Letters. They're one of my favorite couples. So, more on true love and letters and life and all of that to come. Thank you for watching and listening. Good night. I love you.